Welcome back, my chain breakers, for another episode of Talking Taboo. I'm your host, Krista, and with me today I have my co-hosts, starting with Ms. Hasna Deanna, Psych Perspective, and Pranisha. Thank you all again for joining us for today's episode of Sibling Rivalry. We're going to have a great time tonight. And I want to let you know that, for instance, if you weren't able to tune into our last episode on toxic and absent mothers, make sure that you do that. You can watch the replay on our Facebook or YouTube channel. Just make sure you search us at Chain Breakers Talk Show, and you'll be able to see that replay. Now, as always, I want to give you just a little sneak peek of what you missed. Why do you believe that this topic is so taboo and people don't want to acknowledge that we have toxic mothers out there?
People don't want to think that women can harm people or mothers can do any harm to their children.
We are held to a higher standard. So, nobody wants to think, oh, she's not being a good mom, or she's not this, she's not that. Because that's what we're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So we fall short of what we're supposed to be. Nobody wants to acknowledge that.
What was your relationship like with your mother?
Well, she could only give me what she had.
Right.
So my mother is a very loving person, and I always felt that she loved me, but it was still something missing.
Right.
And the thing that was missing is the things that she couldn't even give herself. She didn't know how.
I'm used to the abandonment, the neglect, people being here then and then disappearing, because that's how it was for me with my mom.
I realized that I was basically meeting my mom's unmet needs. I was meeting her needs, but my needs weren't getting met. So, Nisha, I can relate to you on what you said. It felt like you never really had a parent, because looking at it now in my recovery stage, I never really had a mother.
The place I am now with my healing, even as far as I feel like I struggled my whole life. Like I just bought a house a year and a half. No, it's been 2 years. 2 years ago, I got a business. Even I've been stuck and just struggling my whole life. I don't even know how to accept or how to just be in present.
Yeah,
I'm not in that space no more. It's so hard to transition from this because this is all I know.
Yeah.
So I'm here, you know what I'm saying?
People look at women in particular, or anyone that is able to give birth, just people in general. They look at you weird when you get to a certain age. You 25 plus and you don't have kids. Or they're looking at you like you're strange. And especially towards women. And again, people who can birth. And I'm just like, again, I think going back to what you just said, it should be intentional in the sense that you want, in my opinion, I would want a partner. We in this together. We raising a child together. You putting your best foot forward. I'm putting my best foot forward for this child. And then we also love and care about each other too. Oh my God.
You can't commit to a person that you help conceive or decide to sign on a dotted line to take care of, then you can't commit to nobody.
Okay, when I think of the best you can, for me, I think of exhausting all options. I think of counseling, actually doing whatever it takes to better yourself. That's what I think when I hear of the best you can. Because to me, let's think about it, somebody abusing or abandoning kids, was that really their best? Do you see what I'm saying? Or was that their worst?
Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Again, your first bully is your mama.
So many children that have to endure this.
Yes, so many.
On a regular. It's so many people. And it was like, even though it was that young man sitting there, for a minute I put myself at that table. And maybe that's why it's so emotional for me. Because this is real and people don't understand.
Very real.
You really can get torn down at home. And then you go into the world and the world beats you down. And then you go back into that space where you're supposed to find comfort. That's scary.
unfortunately, some people don't make it. I've heard stories in these groups to where people were saying, they were abused all their lives, and how the brothers commit suicide, or everybody don't make it. That's why I don't like the comment that people like making. Oh, well, everything happened for a reason, or this made you
No,
who you are
some shit.
today. No.
That's very dismissive. Oh, well, why don't you just need to pray about it. That's very dismissive.
Trauma, this is some real stuff. Trauma is so misunderstood. All right, you guys, how did you feel about last week's episode?
It was good.
Good.
It was.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive into our topic for today. Again, it's sibling rivalry. The first question I want to discuss, I want to ask you all, what do you believe to be some of the causes of sibling rivalry in families? And when I speak of sibling rivalry, I'm talking about jealousy, envy, secret competition, constant fighting, etc. And I'm going to start with you, Hasna.
You would. I think it has to do with a lot that went on within their own childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that some of it has taken place from, like I said, when they were children, it was done to them. So it's just repetitive. I know for my mother, it happened to her, and it was like always a competition with her siblings, or, when they would get her around people, they would embarrass her, try to compare her to whether how intelligent she was or lack of, whatever they felt, And then it was times where, within my childhood, I remember my middle sister, it's always like this middle child syndrome anyway. So it was like my middle sister used to think that I didn't like her, or I had some type of beef with her, when all I ever wanted for her was greatness. So it was times where I would be hard on her, and not because I was just being mean, but because I felt like I suffered, with being the only child, the first child, I suffered enough for us. So now I want you to be better than me. I want you to have more than what I had. But at a point in time, my own sister didn't look at it like that. She thought, oh, you don't like me. You think you're better than me. We weren't like raised, in a house all together at a certain time. So she felt like, oh, well, you think you're better because you was raised over here, and, and I was over here, So I think it just goes into a lot of comparison. People are always trying to, and I don't know if we realize we do that, but it, a lot of comparison goes on.
Okay, that's a good way to think of it. What do you think about it, Cornisha?
I know in my case, I think the division with my siblings, number one is age, because when, like, my mom had my brother at 15 and me at 17. So then my sisters came along like a little later. So, maybe she wised up as far as being a parent between those time frames or whatever. So, me and my brother lived a rougher life than me and my sisters. So it's stuff we went through. They, they don't understand our life from our perspective. We don't understand from their perspective. So that's been a big wedge in us. And then, having favorites and everything like that. There's always different factors and why there's wedges in the sibling relationships, I think.
Okay. What's your take on it, Sai?
I pretty much was raised as the only child, so I can only give a perspective from looking at my mom and uncle and looking at their dynamics between my grandparents. And I think, again, similar to what you all were saying, age plays a role. My mom and uncle are 5 years apart, and I do think that plays a role. And then also gender dynamics.
Yes,
looking at how my uncle was treated by my grandmother versus how she treats my mother, but then also looking at how my grandfather treated my uncle versus how he treated my mother, and just looking at all of that within play, you definitely see favoritism, and then you also see are you trying to make people jealous, or like, are you trying to, like, what is it? Because
Right.
it's like, those are your kids. You should want them to have, you should want them to work together and be successful together, but that don't always come out that way.
Right. That's good. That's good. Because my take is similar, but at the core of it, I'm an analyzer in my mind. I'm always looking, trying to find the root cause of stuff. Like, I personally believe a lot of it has to do with um, the lack of love and attention within these families. Whenever there's a lack of love or attention, that in my mind creates more of a scarcity mindset, to where people are fighting to get whatever it is that may be there. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not enough to go around. So I believe that creates a lot of the tension as well. And even sometimes within these situations, you will even see the parents competing with the children for that love and attention as well. So I really think at the core of a lot of it, it could be that there's just not enough love and attention from that parent or caregiver in the first place, to where children have to feel as if they have to compete for the love. Because if I was given love and attention, you were given love and attention, and it may look a little different, because I do believe all children are different. You have to meet each child where they are. But if we were given what we needed then and made to feel special within ourselves, that shouldn't really be happening the way that it is, you know? And I like something that you said, Psych, when you said that it's as if the parents are intentionally trying to create the discord in the family at times. And I do believe that that can be a huge case as well. Have you all ever felt any of that within your situation, or a situation that you're aware of?
Honey, I plain out told my mom a few weeks ago that, we know who the favorite is. And is that the favorite? Her child is the favorite grandkid, and it show any like it don't like what's the name? Stevie Wonder, whoever the blind man is, Ray Charles, whoever.
Stevie Wonder.
It's so clear that that's the problem. Like, it's the problem. We know that, strangers know that, anybody know they can get on Facebook, they're gonna see her, they're gonna see her child, but they ain't gonna never see the rest. Like, even a dude she was like, I didn't even know you had other kids, because all you talk about is this one, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
Okay.
Right. Now, Hasna, you briefly talked about a personal situation, but that's actually the next question. And Psych, you don't have any siblings, but I don't know if you were raised up with any like cousins or anything, or, brother and sister like siblings, but you can chime in as well. But I was going to ask the next question to speak of a situation, whether it's a current situation as an adult or when you were younger, to where you felt that there was some type of tension between you and a sibling, and that you believe sibling rivalry played a part in it. I know, Hasna, you already touched on something. If you want to elaborate more, you can, but
yeah, I don't mind. I know at a point in time, my sister and I used to go at it so bad. But my mother and I had a toxic relationship. So it would go into play where I used to feel like my mom was trying to get everybody on her side. Even if she was wrong, it was like, if you knew that, my sister and I weren't that close at the time. So it's like, oh, well, let me tell you what Deanna did. And then now y'all ganging up on me, and nobody knows the full story, but everybody's coming at me because they just, oh, I know how you can be type stuff. Oh, I know what you would say. I know what you would do. So at a point in time, it was like, my sister and I used to go blow for blow. Like, we even had to fight before. And I mean, I wasn't proud of that. I didn't like that at all. But it happened. And I want to say, when we were about like in our 20s, me in my late 20s, her in her, mid 20s, it was just like, we had a conversation one day. And I'm glad we did, because I was able to let her know, like, I love you.
Yeah.
I don't know why you felt this way. I don't know why you thought, you had to be jealous of me, or I was jealous of you. Like, everything I have, I give to my siblings, like especially ones on my mom's side. Now I have siblings on my dad's side, which we're not as close as the ones on my mother's side. But then, I have a few that I'm close to on my father's side. But it was just like that one particular sibling, which was my middle sister on my mother's side. We used to go at it. And it was just like the back and forth of the stories being carried and lies being told.
Yeah.
And sometimes my mom used to be like, oh, she's jealous of you. Oh, she's mad at you. And it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So it was like once you get like the middleman out and you really have those conversations,
right?
Yeah.
You really you're able to tackle. Yeah, the instigator. Once you get that to the side, you're able to tackle the things that are going on. And a lot of the times, the parents really carry a lot of the back and forth.
You want to talk about triangulation? We can talk about
they be over there orchestrating that.
Parents really carry that thing back and forth sometimes. And then like when you call them out, then it's like, oh, me, I didn't do that.
Right. They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
yes. I really do believe that parents are the problem a lot of the times. I really do. I'm not going to say every single time, but the majority, if not, I believe the parents have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I can say, I feel like my mother don't have favorites, but we all have a place. So it's like with me, I'm her oldest. So I went through a lot of things with her. And then when you go down the line, then it's like the rest of them didn't suffer as much. They got the good side of her. They may have gotten a healed side of her. They may have gotten a more mature side of her, where I truly believe that my mother don't have favorites. We all have a place though. And we know that. But if you tell my middle sister, she swears she's my mom, you can't tell her that she's not my mom's favorite. She will argue that down. But like when we're being serious on serious moments, she knows that we all have like a special place with my mother.
And I would assume that's how siblings are supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel like, we're equally loved, we're equally treated, because like Trisha said, every child has their own personality. You can't, what this child needs, this one may need something differently. So you have to cater to each person as an individual. So there shouldn't be that, oh, well, you love this one more and you do more. There shouldn't even be that. But a lot of times that is the case, for whatever reason.
Yeah, and
I think I suffer more from it with my aunt and stuff on that end that I did with my mother. So it was like my aunt had a way of playing me and her children against each other.
Oh,
right.
So that's where the dysfunction came in my life on that end. It wasn't more like I had my moments with my siblings, but it was more so with my aunt and her children. And that's a whole nother,
Right. Bernicia, do you have a situation you would like to speak about?
I don't know, because like I was saying, like the age thing and living a rougher life with the oldest children, that plays a part. But even like my brother is a few years older than me, so even I feel like there's a disconnect there because yes, I feel like I'm trying to heal and I'm trying to move forward in life and be happy, and I can't hold on to our childhood like that. Whereas I feel like he still does. So I feel like even there is a disconnect because I feel like he feels like, well, why you even talk to them? Why you deal with them? My thing is I done got off my chest, whatever I got off my chest.
Right.
I can't live in the past. I realized, we had our mom was a teenager when she had us. I couldn't imagine being a teenage mom. I'm 32 with an 8-year-old and I'm still trying to figure out life. So I can imagine trying to figure it out at the age. I can't hold on to her mistakes or whatever the case is. So I have to move forward in life. But if you're not ready for that, then I feel like there is division there because, once you get to a certain mental place or whatever, or place of healing, you can't force it on other people. So that, that can be a disconnect too, where you're not ready to move forward and you want to stay stuck. I can't stay stuck. I got to keep, life continues on. because I have to be healed or whatever for my child.
Right.
But then being a mother too, I'm glad I don't have more than one child, because I don't know, I don't know what goes along with, having a favorite. Because who's to say I wouldn't have another child and that child is terrible and give me a hard time, but my other one doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a tough one, being a mother, because I don't have that to worry about. I'm just like you're the only child. I'm like, I'm kind of glad I only got one. I don't got to be trying to figure those things out like that.
Yeah. Psych, do you have anything you can add? I know you say you're the only child. So did you grow up with any other people around you, or were you pretty much the only child in the house? Because I know you said your grandparents raised you.
Yeah. So for me, it's very, it's wild, because it's like I grew up as the only child, only grandchild in that immediate family, like for just them. But my grandparents' families, on my grandmother's side in particular, and on my grandfather's side, were very close. So like I saw my second and third cousins often. A lot of times you would basically be at somebody's great grandparents' house or great aunt, great uncle house. But in the immediate family, it was almost like I knew, that was my mom, that was my uncle. But the way my grandparents like treated me was almost like I was a third child, basically like their last child, like they was having their child in their late 40s. That's how I was treated, because it was wild. Because like, so I actually saw like from my perspective, how everybody was treated differently. But then I recognize now, looking back, the privileges that I received because they were so much older and had went through their two previous, so they were better grandparents than I guess you would say parents, But I saw the nitpicking, like when everybody would get together, it's a family dinner, we're all together. Something had to be said or done to agitate somebody to cause like a family ruckus. And then like back in the day, like my papa would do something that my granny didn't approve of. And then next thing you know, all communication was shut off from Papa. Like we all just stopped talking. And I'm like, now looking back, I'm like, this is toxic. This is not how you do things. But we would all just stop talking to him because he had did something. And then he's sitting there running around calling everybody's cell phone. Like, what's going on? I'm just trying to see. And it's just like, and then we would be in the same house doing this. And now looking back, I'm just like, this is just, acting like you don't see the person. They walking in the kitchen, you over there acting like you just going on. Like, that is some psychological.
It's hard to live like that.
Yo, I don't mean to interrupt, but somebody in the comments asked if we could see the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, we can.
But we can't respond to any of the comments.
Yeah.
Like, type back responding to the comments that we see pop up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to ask as well. Okay. Nisha, when you were mentioning once one child starts to try to, improve, or like you said, you got things off of your chest, so it's a little easier for you to, navigate certain things. And I'm not sure your brother's situation, but one thing I notice as well is when somebody walks away, because I stepped away. I stepped away from my mom, but also my sister I no longer talk to. And it's a long story. I can get into a little bit of it tonight, but it may take, forever and a day. But there's often a lot of side taking. And Psych, you kind of joggled my memory when you said that nobody would talk to your uncle whenever he would say something. But there's often people in the family that will take sides once someone either heals, walk away, step away from their sanity, or they bring up an issue that's important in the family, and it's like everybody will kind of turn against that person or side with the parent, especially if you're addressing the parent in that matter.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So I know so many situations like that. And even in my family, I noticed that there's a lot of passive aggressiveness. Like people don't directly say anything, but they are like, they won't comment on your Facebook stuff. They don't call you anymore. Certain things to where there's a problem, but nobody's verbalizing that there's a problem.
And that's the problem, right?
Right. The passive aggressiveness is crazy. But they have an issue with what you're doing, but they're just not saying that they have an issue. So if you address them and ask them, hey, do you have an issue? They're going to lie. So it's like, it's not even worth addressing, because that's just what happens in dysfunctional families. People, they pick a side and they just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But this is what I was going to ask. Why do you all believe that people believe they have to pick a side? Why do y'all believe that people feel that they have to pick a side in the matter? Because if that person did nothing to you.
Exactly, but they force you.
I think some people just have, it's like a alliance with other family members. It's like, it's always something that somebody has over somebody's head. So it's like, if I know you're wrong, but if I choose you, then you might expose what you know about me.
Oh, so
let me continue to choose you, even though I know you're wrong. It's crazy, but a lot of the times, it's a lot of secrets out there. So it goes like you don't want your stuff told. So that's the only reason why I would probably think that that's how I go. Because with me, I don't care. Like I don't listen. Right. I'm so verbal, it makes no sense. Like. If I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. I said it. I did it. Right. This is how I did it. If I owe you an apology, I'm going to apologize. If I stand on it, I'm going to stand on it. Like, that's just how I am. And I know that I think people are so used to being lied to and being fake that I'm too much for people at times, because I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm just going to give it whatever it is. So.
I want to stem off what you said. I think that's where like a lot of the toxicity in families come from, just because people don't want to have these conversations, because whatever is going to come along with it. Because me, I'm like you. I'm gonna say what I got to say. Right. Whatever come along with it, then let's deal with it when it comes. Right. But and it took a while to get to that point, because I don't like conflict, so I try to I kind of keep quiet to avoid it. But at the end of the day, you feel what you feel inside, and if you hold it in, all it's going to do is build up. So I'm to the point now where I got to get it off my chest, and whatever is going to come along with that comes along. So I don't feel like people get to the point where they feel like they can communicate whatever. It's easier to take sides with this person just so I don't have to speak up against what's wrong here. You know what I'm saying? That's the easier route. And that's good. Ultimately, it's still a toxic route to take, just to try to avoid conflict. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We probably weren't taught how to effectively communicate. So to avoid the communicating, we'll just act like, mama right. Well, this one, I don't like what she talk about. I ain't trying to be fussing and fighting with her. So I'm gonna just side with mama, and I ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why people continue to do what they do, because nobody want to speak up. Right. So if you're constantly doing the wrong thing and nobody wants to hear your mouth, then now you're going to keep doing it because you think, oh, it's okay because there ain't nobody saying nothing.
Nobody saying nothing.
Right. And that's why I think accountability is so big. And I personally believe if it was possible for them to wisen up and see exactly what's going on and what's playing behind it, that a lot can change within these families. Because when you don't hold people accountable, again, they just think that it's okay for me to keep doing this. Yeah. Just imagine if we all see, you got 4 siblings, and we all see that mama or daddy is behind the issues. If we all stand together, one person may address it and I may co-sign. mama's gonna straighten up. You know why? Because mama's gonna know she ain't got nobody to enable her foolishness.
Exactly.
So she's gonna either stop it, right, or if she's gonna just fly straight, but she's not gonna continue it. I like to think that you have to have enablers, people to enable you in order to continue. And I think that's why so much abuse goes on continuously, because nobody addresses anything. We don't hold parents accountable. We don't hold people in power accountable. You have to set an example and you have to hold people accountable. Enablers continue abuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something else I was going to say too, because y'all were making some good points, and I was trying to keep them in my mind. I was going to say that I think it can be a few things. Like, for instance, let's say if one of those siblings, like Nisha, they are the favorite, so to speak. So let's say that mom or daddy is paying their rent and giving them whatever they want. Then, of course, they have something to lose, so to speak, because, right, they're getting pretty much, they don't have anything to lose. They don't have anything to complain about, is what I'm saying.
So they're not going to say nothing.
Right. And then you have people that, like Hassan said, they don't want their stuff exposed. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to say anything because if I say something about this, then my mess is going to be exposed. So let me just continue to side with mama, even though she's wrong, and scapegoat this person and make them out to be the bad person. So I won't have any type of focus on myself, or no light will be shining in my situation. Right. So, and then sometimes I also think it's some people, and depending on the situation, this is what I think it is in my family. I think because there was so much lack of love and attention in my family, that some people just think if I can just side with mama or whoever, they will finally see me and give me the love that I need. You see what I'm saying? I think it has a lot to do with it as well, because they never got attention. So they feel like finally, maybe I can get that attention and love that I need. Psych, do you have anything else you want to say before I share my story? Because I know that we took a little turn there.
Oh no, I mean, I'm agreeing.
Okay.
I was saying that a lot of times when you see that dynamic where, you know, any little crumb of attention, even if it means you got to basically sell out or throw everybody under the bus, you jumping up and down for it.
Yep.
I feel like that further goes into some of the reasons why people please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yes, a good comment there.
Yeah, what he said, great point. Most families, especially in the Black family, parents are not usually held accountable. The children usually keep quiet and stay in line to avoid getting their butts whipped.
Yeah, exactly. Because you do as I say, and that's just it. You
don't
got no voice.
Right.
Man, I used to take them whoopings because I wasn't keeping quiet.
Yeah.
I was all, I don't know, y'all judge
I
me.
took them.
Y'all, like literally, my mom used to fight me, and I used to fight her back because I knew I wasn't. I didn't do nothing. I knew I wasn't wrong. But you know, the Bible says something about your days being cut short.
No. And the Bible also tells parents to not provoke their children to anger. But we have a lot of children out here with valid trauma that their parents caused. So I guess the parents going to hell too. I'm so tired of that toxic.
We about to be there together.
Yeah. It's like, but they don't want to talk about that part. They want to manipulate with honoring my mother and father, but they don't want to talk about what they're supposed to be doing. It's crazy.
They wasn't even being mothers and fathers.
Right. You weren't. And aside from that, you weren't even a Christian parent. I look at it like this: the Bible are for Christians. Half of these parents out here don't even know who Jesus, God, whoever is. Like,
no, but they be in church every Sunday.
Right? You ain't even living the Bible. Just be quiet. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of religion.
That's
another topic for another day, huh?
Hold on. Y'all, I just wanted to say real quick, and we're gonna move on because I want to get off my mind before I forget. But I'm just gonna briefly hold that thought, Hasna. Just keep it right there. Keep it right there. I wanted to
They said don't even get me started on religion. We're gonna do that another day. I promise you.
I wanted to just briefly share my story. Okay, I did have to step away from my sister, and that's pretty much one of the reasons to why I was through with my mom as well. around the beginning of 2018, when I decided that, you know what, I need to take some time for myself, take a step back. I sent out a family group text, basically letting everybody know, hey, you know, I'm gonna be taking some time back for myself. You know, y'all aren't gonna see me around for the holidays, because if nobody else was at my mama's house, it was me. You know, like I said, we were like the Doublemint twins. So I sent out a group text. And what I said at the end of the text was, you know, if I don't see y'all before then, you know, I've been good to everybody, blah, 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 blah. It was more so of, I was really going to be focusing on myself. So y'all weren't going to really see me. You see what I'm saying? My sister got offended, and I think one of my oldest nephews did. So they had like a sidebar conversation about it. So my sister texted me like later on that day, and she was like, I don't want those text messages. And again, I was confused because I know why I sent the message. And she was like, well, I don't want that message. And I said, oh, well, you know, I was just letting you all know in case you didn't see me around. But I don't want that negative text message. And I'm sitting here like, still trying to wrap my head around like what's really going on behind this. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like she just went from one thing to another saying, well, you know, I don't want this text. And then she started like kind of rapid texting me, you know, I don't like your attitude. I don't want to go on a cruise no more with you. Stop calling my son. And I'm like, oh, hold up. This is way deeper. Something else. All of this over a text of somebody saying that they're stepping away. Like something else is going on. So, okay, I'm gonna try to cut this short because this is like a whole story. So way like before that, she was going through like some issues, and I noticed that I was always the target of her anger. It was always me. And there would be times like she would come in my house, and let's say I had like a picture on my wall that said blessed. What you got all these pictures in your wall? Blessed, blessed, blessed. Like it seemed like everything about me, everything I did, it just bothered her. So you see what I'm saying? Look at him. Long story short. Everything bothered her about what I was doing. Again, me not having a mindset, I don't walk around like, oh, this person is jealous or hating. I don't be thinking about that because, you know, I'm doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. And I just noticed like it would always be like this criticism and stuff from her. And then it's like one of my friends was like, you know, she's jealous. She just kind of called it out. But I wasn't looking at it that way. You see what I'm saying? But again, this moment that she was having in her life, it's like, I think that a lot of what I was doing, you know, like I was the first, I bought my house, everything that she kind of wanted to do. So I think that there was a lot going on, you know, within her. And it's like she was taking things out on me, etc. But what my mom tried to do is bring us together to talk about it. Again, it's nothing for me to talk about. You see what I'm saying? But my mom wanted me to apologize for the text.
What? I'm not
right. She wanted me to apologize for the text. No, I wasn't doing that. So what I basically did was I sat down and I asked her, I said, I don't understand, you know, why you're upset. So she named like 50 different things and it was getting nowhere. So I just asked her, I said, are you jealous? I just asked her and she cursed me out. She called me everything in the book. My mom looked at me in disgust and told me to leave. And basically she blamed me for her reaction. Now she never corrected her, but she blamed me for her reaction.
Yep, somebody said you were too happy for her. You enjoying your life and she miserable. So yeah, you the problem.
Right.
I didn't see all the comments. I was trying to like,
can y'all look? Okay.
Yeah, they over here on the side.
Right. So it's just like, it's just so much. It's just so much from where that came from. But you know, this is a show. I can't tell y'all everything. We have to talk on the side. But it's just like, I just noticed a lot of that. And looking at it now, yes, I do believe that there was a lot going on with that. With her. And not only that, I think also is that she regrets a lot of things that she did in life, like not spending certain time with the family and stuff. And I think because I have like relationships with my nieces and nephews and stuff, that a lot of people can be upset about how other people like you or love on you. You see what I'm saying? So I think that has a lot to do with it. But instead of her taking accountability and owning it and be like, you know what, I wasn't around or XYZ, it's like she's projecting her issues onto me. So it's like there's no reason I did nothing to her, but she's trying to create an issue with me. You see what I'm saying? And my mom is, and this is why I stepped away from my mom. My mom is going around basically lying. She's assigning what my sister said to me as if I was the aggressor. So my mom somehow, she somehow, what do they call that when you, like splitting, when you assign like what somebody else did to somebody else, and you're trying to make this person out to be the aggressor. And she's defending my sister if she did
like deflecting.
I think it's called like splitting, when you assign something to somebody else. Like she's assigning what my sister did to me and telling people that, oh, I did this, that, and the other when it was my sister that actually.
Right. So she's twisting the story.
Right. And she's just like making up straight lies. So for me, that was my final straw with my mom, because I look at it like this. If you can go around lying and stuff, I don't put anything past you. I don't. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's like when I look deeper, I look at it like this. If she were to acknowledge that my sister was the problem, that would be her acknowledging that the family is dysfunctional. And she can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all, I felt like I was talking for 28 minutes.
No, you're fine.
No, you gave them.
Huh?
My thing is, once you can identify the whole dysfunction in the family,
right?
Like, what are you supposed to do with it? Like, you can't force the rest of them to get on board with trying to fix whatever the problem is.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anywho, so that's just kind of my spiel on my deal. So it's like basically at this point I'm being scapegoated. So we're going to get into the family roles too. So at this point I'm the scapegoat now. And people are just projecting their mess onto me. Again, hating without cause. You did nothing to them, but you're the problem. If we ever sat down and had a full conversation,
psychological projection.
Yeah. Who is this brother?
Mom, JJ,
in the building.
Go ahead now.
Right. So it's just
she's jealous. She is jealous.
But okay. And Trisha, you know what? As far as we talk about breaking chains and all that stuff.
Right.
I always feel like that you as a young Black woman, just to not be pressed about having a relationship and I got to have a man and not, having kids at your age and you are living your life.
Like people don't like that.
They don't like that because that's not what they see. That's something that we tend to see, and to us that's not normal. I mean, I feel like it's wonderful.
I thought you said I could have been
in that state of mind.
Yeah. People don't like when you living your life. People don't like when you're healing, because people always want to have something to talk about. So even when you're doing bad, they're going to talk about that. If you're doing good, they're going to have something to say about that. When you're fixing your life, when you're healing, they're going to have something to say about that, because now you think you're better than everybody else because you're getting yourself together, because you're healing, because you're doing this and you're doing that. So it's always going to be some type of talk somewhere. So now you just have to really just own who you are, become one with who you are, and just live your life. Because if you stay in the mind frame of others, you screwed. Because a lot of people don't even know who they are. So if I don't know who I am, if I don't know who I am as a person, and I'm witnessing you gather who you are, and I'm witnessing you travel and just enjoy life, and I ain't even there yet. Yeah, now I'm feeling some kind of way, which is crazy, but it happens. People will dislike you based off of your own struggles. They don't even know your story.
Right.
You gotta preach it.
And it's
they
just
don't even know what you've been through, but they dislike you because of what everything seems to be like.
Right. And it's crazy because
they don't have no clue what you've been through.
Right. And it's like
couldn't even walk a mile in your shoes.
Right. And it's like with a lot of my family members, it's just like if y'all could only take responsibility. That's it. If you could just take responsibility.
Look, that's boring though. That's boring.
That's it. But it's also like there is no self-awareness. Because if you could easily see that, okay, you know what? Okay, Trista sent that message and I was triggered. Okay, why am I triggered? Okay, you know what? I'm triggered because of how I treated the family. And now I'm triggered by that. So instead of her being able to feel and deal with her feelings, she projected them onto me. And that created this fiasco. You see what I'm saying? But there's no self-awareness to be able to say that. Right. So
no
now
accountability.
No problem.
Because like you said, like 2 weeks ago,
communication.
it's easy to point the finger at someone else.
Right. It's just crazy. Like, I tried to talk to my one of my teachers about that. Like, I'm like, okay, so why are some people more self-aware than others? And she went into basically saying that it just depends on how disconnected a person is from self. Like, even though we grew up in, dysfunction, do any of you identify as being like an empath? Because I do identify with that. Do you feel like you're very empathetic? Like, and I'm not talking about just created from trauma. I'm talking about like intuitive, when somebody lying, like all of that kind of stuff, like empathetic. Because I noticed that people like that seem to just be naturally self-aware. You see what I'm saying? And everybody's not
like you put yourself in other people's shoes.
Right. And it's like you know when something is off within you. Like, for instance, let's say if I met a guy or a man and I pick up something from him, I would know right then, like, okay, I'm not supposed to deal with him. But let's say if I go deal with him anyway and something happened, I would laugh because I knew that I wasn't supposed to deal with him in the first place. That's how self-aware I am. Like, I be knowing. And I can't even blame nobody. I be laughing like, God, you told me not to do that. I did it anyway. So that's
I don't get surprised. Yeah, I don't get surprised by what people do now, because I
already know.
And anybody that knows me, they tell me all the time, like, Deanna, you be on point. Like,
and then you like kind of, if you do move forward, it's like you just second guessing yourself, but you already know.
Right, like you already be knowing. But she was just saying that with some people, like everybody's not naturally born that way. Empathy is a learned skill as well. So, for instance, if you're born in an environment where your parents don't have it, then if that child is not naturally empathetic, they may not get it. You see what I'm saying? So also she was mentioning that it depends on the type of trauma that you dealt with and how early that trauma developed, whether or not you developed certain defense mechanisms. You see what I'm saying? Because defense mechanisms will pretty much keep you from taking accountability. It just depends. And a lot of times we do it subconsciously. You don't even realize it because it's just...
You've just been doing it your whole life.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask y'all this, since we all seem to be on the same page as far as that. Do you feel like because you have like empathic, or however you want to say it, do you think that kind of keeps you distant from other people? Because I noticed, like with me, most of my life, I kind of been more of a loner. And I know I can't just deal with
too much.
And even when I do try to, it'd be like, hold on, I need a break. I need to back off because too much. I have to do my own little.
I'm in between. Sometimes, depending on the circumstances, it draws me to the person.
Right.
Sometimes I want to say I'm a glutton for my own, like for punishment or something like that, because it's like it helps me. Maybe it's something within me, just like, I know I'm right. I know I called it, because I'll connect myself with some people sometimes knowing damn well I shouldn't. But then as I'm connecting with them, I'm calling everything their next move out. So with me doing that, it's like, no, Deanna, you're on point. Like, you're not going crazy. Like, you're being your authentic self. You're trying to be caring. You're trying to get them to help. You're trying to
elevate people,
what they have going on and where they getting caught up at, and how to, like kind of deliver them for what they got going on. But at the same time, I'm calling what I see before I even see it. So it's kind of like sharpening my skills a little bit, on top of like really trying to help the person, but you can't force nobody.
Hey, honey, that's what I just had to learn myself, because it's like they say you can lead a horse to where they can't make them drink,
but you can't make them drink it.
And I'd be like, come on, I'm giving it. I'm trying to hold your hand and trying to bring you to the light. You're not trying to come. And at the end of the day, you can't force nothing on anybody.
You can't.
Yeah,
but I feel like I have to, like, you have to, with the world being the way it is right now, you got to stay on point. You got to stay sharp, because you got one time to slip, and it could cost one time slipping could cost you everything.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, that's why.
It can cost you everything.
Yeah.
So no matter who it is, like with I always say now, I live by, I don't care what title you have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not living up to that title,
Yeah.
I don't have nothing for you.
gotta go.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like, I'm like, I don't care who I lose in life. I don't care. Like, I'm fine with being alone. I am not selling myself out. I'm not abandoning myself, family, mother, whoever. I don't care. Like, I am fine. And I guess that's the good thing about being a loner. Like, I'm okay being alone. It don't bother me. And I guess it depends on your temperament and like your attachment too. You know, because some people are like have a very anxious attachment to where they have to be like around people.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
I'll be at peace in solitude by myself personally.
Yeah, and I think I like dibble and dabble. Sometimes I want to be around people. I want the company, but a lot of times I just be like, nah, I'm good over here by myself.
I want good people around me, people that I know I can trust.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. I like being connected to who gives me that good vibe.
Yes.
I want to spend more time laughing and enjoying myself than giving somebody a side eye. I don't have time for that type of energy. You know, I don't want to waste it. I'm like, I want to laugh, and I want it to be a genuine laugh. Right. I want to love, and I want the love to be genuine. Like anything that I do, I want it to be genuine. So everything that I require people to be to me, I trust and believe I can give them that same thing. That's why I'm standing on everybody's back and treating me in a certain way, because I know I'm going to treat you.
Right. That is so true. Now, okay.
Nisha, you must like that. You smiling hard, girl.
Oh, man. You know, now, I remember that you said briefly that your mom situation was similar to you and your sister's situation. So basically, it was like a cycle repeating itself.
Yeah.
Now, Nisha, in your situation, was your mom close with her siblings, or was it pretty much dysfunctional as well in distance? Or you
that's a whole hot mess story too.
Okay, yeah, because I just wanted to know, like, you know,
I think it is passed down. I think, you know, because my mom had her favorite. It's just been passed down.
Because I know in my family, it's the same thing. Like my mom and one of her sisters, it was just the same issue. And I do foresee that it is a generational issue with my family. I see that. Yeah.
See, my mom was the one who will break her neck to do for the family, but they will talk about it real bad.
Yeah.
So it was like always that sense of approval she needed or something, you know, acceptance. And listen, God knew what he was doing when he blessed my mother with me, because I'm like, sis, we're going to do it like this. Like, this is how we going to do this. And I always knew that, like, I had my mom's back. I'm her ride or die. We all are. My siblings, like, we will ride for my mother. We don't play with her. We don't play with her, and we don't play with people coming after her.
Right.
So it's like, we really had to, like, I feel like I had to mold my mother a little bit. The older I became, I really had to be like, listen, your way, with the way you did things, the abuse that you took from your siblings and everybody else, because she loves her, they're better now, but it's still not like, God rest my uncle's soul, but he's been gone for 2 years now, but that was like her right-hand man. But as time went on, things started happening, then it was a disconnect. Then it was like her and her sister, they'll come together, but then they don't come together. Like, it's always a back and forth thing.
Yeah.
And my mom was always the type of person trying to just be that loving and dear sister to her siblings. And I'm like, hell no. If they not giving you that same love, you're not doing it back to them. I'm tired of every time you running to their aid, but they not really running to you, or they hurting your feelings, and now we got to patch you up. No. Like, listen, I don't care who they are or what they bring. You need to treat yourself good and teach people how to treat you.
Right.
And it don't matter.
And I like how you said that she was the giver in the family, because that's how I was. Like my siblings, nieces, nephews, nobody can say nothing about how Trista has helped me, even when my parents didn't give a fuck about me. Let's be real. Can't nobody say anything. I would love a day where we sit at a round table, but they wouldn't do that. Because you know what? What will come out will be their stuff. That's going to come out because you can't say that Trista did nothing to you. Like I said, my sister couldn't even mention anything. She didn't know because I didn't do anything to her. Like she couldn't even say anything.
And now she's really mad because she don't have anything.
You don't have that access to you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
this is
and
what
when
I
you
want
cut
to
access,
Honey, when you cut
can't
that
handle
access
it.
off, boy,
There,
you the devil then.
It's crazy, Lord.
You evil and everything else for
that's
having
a whole
some
other
respect.
situation. Because when I stepped away from my mom, like at first it started away as low contact, you know, because I had a home care business and she was working for me. So she was one of my aides. So, you know, you got to keep in contact with your employees. So I eventually went full no contact. And that was really the tip of the iceberg because now it's like, okay, you really ain't gonna, you know, talk to me, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when things started, the smear campaign and everything really upped the ante because now it's like, oh, how dare you? You see what I'm saying? Because I was her main supply. So it's kind of like, how dare you? So everybody else they can walk away, they can do whatever, but
not you.
Can't.
You better
not. I can't. So
and they suck the life out of
yes.
You don't even realize it.
You don't. It's like self-care. Like I lost like 50 pounds since I've been here in Detroit. And my goal is by graduation, you know, get to my little goal size. But it was so necessary, y'all. I felt like walking away saved my life. I really do. I really feel that, you know, I'm not with all this religion anymore, but I do believe there is a God. I do believe in the spiritual world. I do believe in all of that. And for me, I feel like God really has a purpose for whatever he's doing, whatever I've been through. Like it's like everything that I've been through, it all makes sense for me. So I know that there is something that's going to come out of this. And I'm just loving that he woke me up and took me out of it because there are people that I know within these groups, they're 60 and 70 years old, still trying to get their parents' approval, still, you know, basically about to die. And still, you know, they're focused on themselves and live their lives. And I'm like, thank you, God, for waking me up. So I still have an opportunity to really live a full life for myself, you know? So what I want to do, y'all, I want to get to a few of these roles before, you know, we start wrapping up. Have y'all ever heard of family roles? Because whether or not you know it, when we are in these dysfunctional type families, we are basically assigned a role. You see what I'm saying? And I want to talk about them, and I want you to tell me what you identify with. Look, what you identify with, okay? Okay. Now, there's actually 6, but I'm going to start here with the caretaker. Okay. So the caretaker, now you can identify with some of these, but not all of them, but the caretaker makes excuses for the family members, enabler, people pleaser. Now, let me say this. I think that basically everybody in a dysfunctional family are enablers and people pleasers. That's just what I think for the most part.
Yeah.
Wants the family to stay connected, so will smooth over conflicts, taking on problems that are not theirs to carry, in denial about the severity of the dysfunction, tries to fix the dysfunction by self-sacrificing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The hero. This is
I think that got to be me.
Now, the hero is typically the oldest child. It's most of the time it's typically like an older child, but you know, it can be anybody. The hero child takes on the parental role, typically overachiever, strive for perfection. And I think that could come from having to do it all. You see what I'm saying? You can't really slip up because you ain't got nobody else to right. Constantly trying to make the family look good. They can also be the caretaker of the family, often burdened by guilt, shame, and pressure that they usually never talk about. Tries to normalize the chaos by false hope. Successful on the outside, but struggles internally. Next, the scapegoat.
That would be you.
You know what? No. Now it is since I'm shaking up the boat. So now I am the scapegoat. But growing up, it was actually my brothers. Yeah. But one thing about this too, now these roles can also flip flop depending on the parent need, the caretaker need. So I'm sure we all probably had a little bit here and there. It just depends. But some of us stay like in a main.
Yeah, because I'm probably this one too.
Yeah, the scapegoat, usually blamed for the problems in the house, often seen as the problem child and black sheep of the family. Internalized shame and guilt, craves independence and distance from the family, constantly criticized, the whistleblower of the family.
Yeah, because I will air everything out and have on Facebook.
Ignored for speaking the truth of the dysfunction in the house. And lastly, well, this is the lost child. Invisible family member withdraws as a way to deal with family dysfunction, tries to avoid all conflict and talk about family dysfunction by being alone, deny their own needs by burying them, bearing their feelings of guilt, shame, difficulty making decisions, tries their best to not create issues. And I also wanted to mention briefly the golden child. I didn't find one on the golden child, but I still want to briefly talk about it. But pretty much that's the child that can do no wrong in the parents' eyes, depending on the type of family that you have. If it's more personality disorder, narcissistic, sometimes that child also project and carry the same qualities that that narcissistic parent has. For instance, one thing about people's thought patterns or mindsets, if they have a personality disorder like narcissism, NPD, or sociopath, psychopathic personalities, a lot of times their thoughts are not like a rational person's would. Let's say, for instance, if it's like they looked at their children as all good or all bad. So let's say you could be doing everything right in the family, but because in that dysfunctional family, you can't outdo your parents, for instance. So to them, you're all bad in their eyes. You see what I'm saying? Because you're the opposite of who they are. These people really have torn down self-esteem. They really have low confidence, low self-esteem. They're really deeply insecure inside. You see what I'm saying? So that child who's mimicking their life more so, that's the child that they're going to sometimes that they would assign as their golden child, because that child has more of their qualities. Does that make sense? So they may not technically be doing anything great, but because they share similar qualities,
they identify with them better.
Right. And they're not being a threat to anything in them, then that's going to be the golden child. And this other child could be, hey, a great child, but because they're the opposite of them, or they threaten that parent, they have to try to tear them down, scapegoat and verbal abuse, whatever the case may be. So out of all of these, I don't know if y'all need me to run them back. What do you feel that you were labeled with? Because we all play a role, whether you're aware of it or not, we all play a role in our families.
I think I was like 3 different ones. Scapegoat, the lost child, and the hero. Like, if that's possible to be 3, I think I was those 3.
Yeah, they can rotate.
Yeah, I know for sure I'm the caretaker.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm the caretaker. I'm the hero. I'm the at a point in time I was the scapegoat. I don't want to say I was the lost child.
You put the lost child back on.
Oh, put that back on?
Yeah, put the lost.
Okay, withdrawals as a way to deal with
that. Was more, in my opinion, that was my sister growing up. Like, she used to stay in a room. She didn't come out. Like, she didn't play or nothing like that. But in the same breath, me and my little brother used to think she was the golden child just because she was so quiet. But then you have to realize some parents, it's like they want their children to be out of their hair. So if you don't bother anybody, you don't start any trouble, then it may come across like they are being favored, but really you're just doing what the parent wants you to do. Like you ain't doing nothing.
Like rocking the boat.
You ain't making their job hard.
Yep.
Yeah. I know for sure I am definitely the caretaker.
Yeah, that's definitely me, like without a doubt. But my therapist was saying she sees some hero in me. Now, I was the parental child, but I don't believe that like I'm overachieving for my family. Like I've always been the type of person, like when I work, it's like I don't even be wanting to work. Like I do the bare minimum and that's it. Like I want to work. I want a job or business with passion. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I don't really care about money and stuff. But to my mom, she would always brag on me too. Now she wouldn't brag on me to my face, but she would brag on me to other people. But it made her look good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and now I'm definitely a scapegoat. Yeah. Now, do you identify?
Yeah, I would probably identify with the hero also.
Mm-hmm. Do you identify with anything, Sight? Because I don't think you went.
I identify with a little bit of the caretaker / hero.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also feel like I definitely was kind of put in the golden child, role as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit of the lost child dynamics, because it's like I basically had to make up because of what my mom did, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to, I felt like I always had to prove like, well, I'm not going to be, and it's jacked up because it's like I was almost kind of like put in a situation where it's like I'm looking down on my mom, if that makes sense. But it's just like it was always seen as, well, you see how much, your mom has called, you need to do blah, blah, blah. And if you're not careful, you'll be over there just like that. And that was always something that was said. So it's like I have a mixture, I feel like.
Yeah.
Roles.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys. Well, let me open up the phone lines because it is like 8:15. So let me go back to the main screen here. Well, before I do that, do y'all have any comments y'all want to make about that?
I do have a question for you. So being that you have stepped away from your family, do you foresee you cycling back around to them eventually? Like,
no, I don't. For me at this moment, I'm pretty much done. It will take it's gonna have to be a powerful wake up, something that I can't even imagine. But no, not for me. And I have already I've made the the decision, like I could go before my mom, but I'm not attending the funeral. I've already decided that I'm not right. I'm through. Now, if like there is some kind of public apology, because like she's going around lying. I mean, to cousins, like I came across a message that she was talking about me to one of my cousins or whatever. And what I did, I had two witnesses on the phone. I said, now watch this. I'm going to call her and see what she said. Now I had the proof in my hand. She lied like I don't know what. She was like, oh no, I don't talk about you. I only say good things about you. It was so fake to where it's like, and I said, Mom, what is wrong with you? Like, this is crazy. Like I'm sitting here with proof, but she's steady lying. So it's like she throws fire and hide her hand. Like she's very covert and sneaky. I can't rock with that. And I look at it like I'm seeing more and more of who she is. Like all of that's coming out once she's not getting her way. And to me, that's scary. I don't put anything past you if you could do stuff like that and be okay with it. To me, that shows you don't have a conscience.
Right.
So yeah, for me, I'm through with it. I'm through with it because at the end of the day, if this was somebody on the street, I wouldn't be dealing with them. So I'm through with it. So yeah, it's different if there was true accountability. She could really see what she's doing, but she can't. And to top that off, when I told her that I was done, she called like 3 days later. Well, let's go to counseling and work on our relationship. I knew it was a bunch of baloney, but I still went because I look at it like, okay, that will even give me more closure. So we went to a counselor. And I don't know who this little young Caucasian girl was, but she was good. She must have had her own family struggles because she was good. It's very hard to find people that get this stuff and don't automatically just side with the parent, because that's what society teaches us a lot of times, that the parents are always right, But she basically looked at me and in so many words told me that I need to walk away. And she looked at my mom and she was just telling her like, well, what she still needs a mother. Like I don't think my mom, what I saw in there was she don't see the issue. And that lets me know that there's something deeper going on. Like she really needs to work on her trauma and her issues. I don't know if that will help. I don't know, but it's beyond my control. It's beyond my control. And she told her that she would like to continue to work with her, make the appointment. But my mom, she made the appointment when we were walking out, but she never went back. So, maybe she's not at a point
ready.
Right. But there's nothing I can do.
And I know a lot of people will have their own feelings on that and
right.
feel like you may be wrong or whatever the case may be. But I love the fact that you stand on it. I love the fact that you protect yourself. And it's like if nobody else is going to protect you, you have to protect yourself, even if it's from your own mother. And a lot of people will stick in a situation just because it's their parent and make excuses for the parent over and over and over again, but constantly you're suffering constantly from the hurt and pain that they're causing you. And then you wonder why you're depressed or you're sad most days. Because you're taking on that environment that you're in, and you're taking on that energy. So I really like even hearing you share that portion and your story. And I know that's just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hate that you're going through that. It hurts me that you're going through that. But I promise you, like, I respect it. I respect it because if you can stand on your own mother's neck and say, listen, I'm done. And it's deep for you to say, I can go before my mother, but I'm not going to a funeral. I'm not doing that. So that goes to show you where you have like really drew the line. Like enough is enough,
And that's how I am again. I'm that, like you said, that empathetic, caring person. But when I'm done, I'm done. Trust me, when I'm done with something, I gave you opportunities after opportunity after opportunity. And we give our parents and our family more opportunities than we should. You see what I'm saying?
If she would have took the therapy serious, if she would have
and really worked at it, that would make a difference. But and it's like, even if I would have just walked away and it would have been cool. But it's like she's adding fuel to the fire by smearing, and it's like she's trying to not expose herself, how she's working overtime. And I'm like, why are you doing all of this? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And even one of my cousins was like, well, okay, if that's you and your sister's situation, why is she even involved in that? Like, just let it be what it is. Like, why are you even doing all of that? But again, it didn't really start until I really stepped away from her. So now it's like, how dare you? You see what I'm saying? Because again, I was like her main supply. Like, she even said in counseling, she was like, well, Trista, I'm closer to you than all those kids. I'm closer to you. And again, you may be closer to me, but again, you're not hearing what I'm saying. My needs aren't being met. You see what I'm saying? So she don't get it. She don't understand it. She doesn't get it. You see what I'm saying? So again, if she would have went to therapy, then somebody could have possibly helped her kind of understand. But again, you have to go. She have to go if she want to, get anywhere.
And not just go, like put the work.
Yeah, put in the work. So ain't nothing I can do with that no more. Yeah.
I felt it in a no more. I felt that.
Huh?
That no more was real. It was hard. I felt that.
What are you talking about?
I said the no more that you put at the end. It was like it wasn't no more. It was no more. I felt that.
I'm so thrilled. But again, I feel like this was my greatest breakthrough, because I feel like I'm a root cause person. I always tell God I want truth and I want to heal at the root. I don't want to be tiptoeing. Give me all the truth that I need to see, who's for me, who's on my side, expose my family members. I don't care. I need to see it for what it is. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what I value in life. I value truth. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, oh Lord, where was I going with this? So for me, it's like, if I can really put myself first where it all started, like with my family of origin, I just feel like that was like, for me, the greatest thing that one can do. You putting yourself first in front of your parents who basically you were groomed to say, oh no, their feelings come first, their needs come first, who society think that you should kill yourself for. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, I just feel like that's the greatest thing I feel like I could do. I really do. Like, I really feel like that's a true act of like self-love. And I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I really am. I really am.
That's what I'm talking about. He said it's okay to be selfish. Selfish is not a bad thing when it doesn't intentionally hurt someone else. Do you in 2022?
Do you in 22?
Right.
Honey, in the rest of your life, do you?
Right. I just feel like, and we're going to talk about this next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about toxic relationships. And I want to talk about how these roles that we play in our family carry on into our relationships. So I want to talk about that too. And when you don't incorporate those boundaries, putting yourself first, putting your needs first, how it impacts the candidates that you choose, the relationships that you tolerate, etc.
Y'all get ready. This gonna be juicy.
I'm telling you, because when I spoke to this
about to go in.
And she told me, when I was telling her my situation, she was saying, that can really affect your relationships. And I'm so glad that I got out of that, because I could only imagine the type of person I could have choose for a partner if I would have stayed in that toxic space.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But we'll
like literally, I had a therapist tell me, like, if you take your spouse and you go back and see the traits that your mother had, and like, if there was a father in the home and whatever traits you saw growing up, and like it's guaranteed, almost guaranteed, that's what you would have in a partner. Now you can identify these are the traits, then you can, kind of maneuver a little better. But if that's all you know,
then that's all you know.
That's all you know.
That is so true. Now, you guys, I am going to open up the phone lines for the viewers who are watching. I want to thank you all for tuning in and supporting. If you want to call in, again, the phone lines are open. You can call in, share your thoughts, opinion, feedback, anything. Call 213-87-TABOO, 213-87-TABOO. The phone lines are open. So I'm going to have this here in case somebody called. If not, we'll go ahead and go forward. Any question, comments, etc.?
Locations near you.
Oops. Oh, this is my cousin. I'm really proud of who you become and how you navigated your life towards truth as well as peace. Oh, thank you, Sean. You make me want to cry.
Oh. Now, y'all know I'm a crybaby. I'll be sitting up here crying. Lord, honey.
Let's see what else I got on my little list.
Now, you've been sending messages all night. Go ahead and call in.
Right.
Well, love JJ.
213.
JJ, go ahead and call.
Come on, love JJ. Call in. We would love to hear from you.
Let me ask you all a question. What do you all think is stronger, nature or nurture? Nature.
I feel it's a balance.
Do you think so?
I feel like it should be a balance. Or to me, it's a balance.
Okay.
They talk too much. Go ahead. We all talk. Let's have a conversation.
Come on and call in, Jay. It's safe for typing
in chat.
You say you think it's a balance?
I think nature is probably the stronger force, but I think nurture can what's the word?
Yeah, I want to say it's a balance though.
Okay.
I think
like it complements it.
Yeah, like something like that.
It complements each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does make sense of like how we were saying, like, I really think I was born highly empathetic. I really do. So yeah, so that was who I was. And even though my environment this is tough. Maybe it is a balance. Yeah. I think it is a balance. It can be a balance, yeah. Well, that's a good one.
That was good.
So what are some ways that you all think the cycle can be broken? And what cycle I'm talking about is the cycle of sibling rivalry and dysfunction among siblings. Because when you think about it, let's say that matriarch or patriarch, whether it's your grandparents, your parents, if they pass today or tomorrow, your siblings are going to be the one, you or your siblings are going to be ones repeating that cycle, to the next generation of more family dysfunction. So in what way do you believe that we can break the cycle?
I would say, for me, it would be identifying my shortcomings before addressing anyone else. Right. I want to make sure that I'm together for whatever is to come. So I want to make sure before I even bring up certain topics or triggers, I want to know that I've done that work. Right. So that my response is not negative.
That's good. That's good.
Again, like I always say, it's easier to tell somebody how they should react or respond, but it's harder to do that work on yourself.
Right.
So I would really want to start by just doing the work on self and then going forward. So my approach could even be different, because when you're a little teed off or triggered, you're not coming in with a level head. Yeah. You're coming in with that defense mechanism, like it's going to be up and it's going to be high. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, if your ultimate goal is to accomplish something, healing, understanding, you really have to do that work on yourself, because there's going to be some things, just as well as you can say whatever you want about somebody else, you got to be ready to hear what the other person has to say about you.
Yeah, you got to be able to have that combo. Take accountability and criticism too.
So, right. And I believe that's true, because just like how you said, you stepped away from your family. I think, this makes almost 4 years that I've been in a different state than my family. And it's taken me 3 of those years, like where I've been, I don't know. First, I think just being away, and then start identifying, well, I have stuff I need to work on, and doing the therapy and self, evaluating all that stuff for me to come back and have those like straightforward conversations.
Right.
And I think once I've done, like she said, once I've done the work for me, and I can identify the root cause of some of the issues I deal with, then let's have a conversation about, okay, this is how I feel, and this is what I struggle with, but this is where it came from.
Right.
So this wasn't my issue. This was never my issue. Like, this stuff I had to have with my mom, this was never my issue. This was your issue that kind of was put on me. So I can have that conversation with you, because I done did my work, and I done went through whatever I struggle with just to come down to this problem. And this problem was not my problem. You know what I'm saying?
And I think
I feel like in realizing that and you addressing it, it could be, it could be taken in a better space than like, oh, this is just a blame game, or you no, this is what I, these are my struggles. This is how this stuff I went through. This is how I feel. This whatever. Like, I run down the list before I come back to, this is your problem, not my problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I think boundaries are so important. Even just once you think about healing, boundaries are so important, because there's a lot of shame that, of course, so many people are carrying from childhood, things that you thought was your issue and it wasn't your issue, especially if you was heavily scapegoated. You see what I'm saying? That this stuff was not your problem. What happened to you, abuse, mistreatment, whatever, that was not your issue. So I think that is so important, because I think once you can properly identify what's yours and what's not, and start to discover who you are, that's when you can release a lot of that shame, guilt. I think so many people are still holding on to shame and guilt. That's why they're still, let's say, feeling guilty, like about walking away, for instance. Some people feel guilty about walking away, but it's like, okay, why should you feel guilty about stepping away? You haven't done anything to anybody. Like, why are you feeling guilty? You see what I'm saying? Why is that shame and guilt still on you? Like, what are you holding on to that's not yours? What are you still blaming yourself for that wasn't your fault? Right. So I think that keeps a lot of people stuck in toxic situations, family situations, etc. They're still blaming themselves for something, or they may think, oh, well, and this is common. A lot of people think, well, what if my mom and daddy die and I ain't talking to them? Okay, what have you done to them to where you should feel guilty? What are you blaming yourself for?
I know for me, I blame myself for certain things, because I always put myself in a place where a point in time I needed the love or the understanding and things like that. So what kept me in certain situations, whether it was relationship, whatever it was, friendships, it was because I kept using the excuse of I remember when I needed it and I didn't have it. So
Okay.
maybe,
Yeah.
so maybe this is what they need and they don't know how to really identify with it or whatever the case may be. So you keep feeling like you're the one who can help them when they're really draining you. They're really, and then it gets to the point where they're treating you, they're treating you as if you're the one who actually did something to them.
Right.
So now it gets to that place where you have to say, you know what, I did my part.
Right.
I've given it my best. I've tried to help you, and now I have to walk away from this because it's draining me. So I've stayed in a lot of situations where it was really draining me, all because I kept putting myself in that place of when I needed it and didn't have it.
Right. That's understandable. That's understandable.
But not anymore though. That was like a couple years ago. You ain't gonna get that.
Right. And then like you said, you have to get to the point where you have to realize, even though you want better for others, they have to want it for themselves.
That's
Thank you. They gotta want that for themselves.
Right. And I think that's still like a boundary issue. I remember my therapist said that. She was like, at the end of the day, you can't try to make this relationship work or try to show her what's this or show this person that. They have to meet you halfway. And if they're not meeting you halfway, you're trying to fix and rescue them. You're going to drain yourself and you're going to kill yourself. Like
I now ask people, how bad do you want it?
Right.
I want it just as bad as you want it. If you want it 100%, then
honey, come meet me up here because I got to keep going.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you do. You have to, because if not, you will find yourself balled up, stressed out about situations that ain't even yours.
That ain't yours to carry. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close up the phone lines. Thank you all for watching.
Oh, JJ, we was waiting on that.
I'm waiting for him to call. It's all right. Make sure to call next week, JJ. All right, you guys. I really thank you all for
tuning in.
Yes, we appreciate all the comments.
I really thank all of you for tuning in, and of course, co-hosts. Thank you all for always giving an amazing show. I really appreciate that as well. Now, next week we are going to be talking about toxic relationships, so make sure that you tune in next week on YouTube or Facebook. Just search in the bar Chainbreakers Talk Show. We should come up at 7 p.m. next Sunday. Let's see. Okay, let me end with my little closing here, okay? Remember that activity follows identity. It's time that you stop playing the script you've been given and start becoming the author of your own life. Only you have the power to change your narrative. It's time you rewrite your story. Is there anything else that you all just have pressured on your chest to get out before we go?
I don't know. I feel like I need to be dolled up for next week because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Just start going.
It's going to be an interesting one.
All right, you guys.
This has been good. It's been good.
All right. So I'll definitely chat with you all on next week. And also, viewers, thank you again for tuning in. See you next time.
See ya.